If you've been stuck inside a toxic dynamic, a dysfunctional marriage, or just a difficult relationship, or you have been inside a marriage, but you are continuously plagued with this question, should I stay or should I leave? And or you have spent every fiber of your being to save the relationship, to make it better, but you are feeling so disconnected from yourself, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Meena Puri. I help you resolve emotional triggers and patterns at the root so you can live with ease, confidence, and joy. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you have been focusing on the wrong thing. You've been focusing on the relationship when the answers are actually going to come, even about the relationship, when you pull your attention back to yourself. So here's a reality. So many of us have been conditioned to make the marriage or the relationship so important that it overtakes our life. It's not that relationship isn't important. Everything is important. Your health is important. You are important. Your work or career, your purpose in this life is important. But we have over signified the relationship to the point where we are willing to sacrifice our own joy, our own happiness, just so we have the relationship. If that was not enough, women have been conditioned to believe that somehow the quality of the relationship, or whether the relationship works or doesn't work, whether it succeeds or it fails, it's really the burden is on their shoulders. They have been conditioned to believe that they can make the marriage work no matter how the other person is. They have that capability, or they are expected to endure. They're expected to be sacrificing. They're expected to over understand. They're expected to stay silent at the expense of themselves just so they can save the relationship. This is not a joke. In the Indian culture, one of the teachings that parents tell their daughters when they leave the house at the marriage is like the only way you're going to leave that home, your husband's home, is when you die, which means the doors of our home, your home that you grew up in, are closed. That is your place. You are never going to leave there until you die. So these are some serious conditioning and brainwashing that has been um, that the women are trained with. So it is no coincidence that the burden of the relationship continues to fall on the shoulders of the women, and they feel disappearing inside it. They're buried inside that burden. They're not happy, but they can't leave. They're wondering if they should leave. If they leave, what will people say? They will feel like they have failed. Or what happens to the whole family, social structure, the finances? So I am not suggesting that leaving a relationship is an easy answer. Same way, getting into a relationship should not just be an easy answer either. It is something of significance, so we have to pay attention to it. But what I want to share with you in this video, that you are focusing on the wrong problem. You are believing that the relationship is the problem. That's why you keep on fixing that problem, although the problem is not getting fixed. So you think it's because you are not doing enough. You are doing something wrong. What is it that you need to do next? How much do you need to do or understand or please the other person or stay silent to save the relationship? So you are focusing on the wrong problem. In this video, I'm going to share with you that you need to draw attention away from the relationship onto yourself, because who is in the relationship? There's two people inside the relationship. If both of those people are so disconnected from themselves, and if they are miserable and unhappy, then who is having the relationship? That is not the making of a great relationship when each person is disconnected from themselves. So here I'm going to talk only with the lens of the women. And I want to ask you to consider that perhaps your focus need to shift away from the relationship onto yourself. Another thing we continue to um, spend so much of our energy on is, should I leave him? Should I stay or should I leave? Again, that's a wrong question. You can always leave. You can always get a divorce, right? Or you can choose to stay. It is not about that. That the answer to that question is a byproduct of when you bring attention to yourself and get clarity as to what has happened to you and who have you been inside the relationship that you have tolerated the bad or the hurtful or the painful or unfulfilling relationship for so long. So that question, I want you to put that question aside and trust that you're going to get the answer to that question once you draw attention to yourself. So the purpose of this video is I'm not making the decision for you. We are not answering the question whether you should stay or leave. I want you to put that question aside. You will get answers to that in its own time. But I want to draw your attention to the person who is inside the relationship, your part inside it, and how you want to find yourself again. So whether you are going back to this relationship or improving this relationship, then at least you're doing it with a sense of clarity, not out of obligation, not out of fear, not out of confusion. Okay, so before we dig into that, I want to tell you that I am going to be opening enrollment to a 12-week program where I'm going to help you do exactly that so you can find yourself again. I'm going to help you move from disconnection, confusion and lack of confidence and the self-sabotage and the self-overriding to clarity, confidence, and peace so you can make the decision about your relationship from a really, really good place. The 12-week program is going to be based on my new book. It's called The Relationship Illusion. And if you don't have a copy, go ahead and get it on Amazon. But I will put a list in the comments where you can, this is going to be a new program. It's limited to a handful of women. So if you are interested in that, I'm going to give you a link that you can add your name to the list so you are the first to know. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So when you draw attention back to yourself, what is it that I want you to pay attention to? I want you to go, number one, I want you to go back to the time where you were not inside the relationship. Who were you? What were your likes, dislikes? What were your aspirations? What brought you joy? Can you go back to that and ask yourself that? Write it down. So many women have become so distant from everything about themselves that when I ask them this question, they don't even know how to answer. So I want you to take some time to answer this question. Maybe you loved reading. Maybe you loved hiking. Maybe you loved horseback riding. Maybe you loved telling stories. Maybe you like to knit. What is it, that one thing that brought you joy that is so, when you are doing that thing, you are in your element. You become yourself. Okay. So, number two, what beliefs about the marriage and about your role inside it have you brought from your mother, grandmother, your tribe, your community, society? What do you believe? Do you believe that the quality of the relationship, that the burden to carry the relationship is entirely yours? Do you believe that if you were good enough, you could make this relationship work? That if the relationship does not work, it's because you have failed? Do you believe that? I want you to be honest. So this is between you and you. And this is where you're going to get into, oh my God, I'm carrying the belief that I have been given by my mother, by my sisters, or by the society. But do you believe that? Now that you have been inside the relationship, do you believe that only you can make it work and that you are the superwoman, that you can change the other person? So that's the second question. So the third question I want you to ask yourself. So relationships are a mirror. It doesn't matter how toxic they are, how bad they are, how dysfunctional they are still a mirror. Nothing like a relationship to push your buttons that you have not healed. What in the relationship, what is the one thing in the relationship that really hurts you? That really eats away at you, that you just can't get over? That is telling you that there's something within you that has not been resolved, healed, or addressed. And the other person is simply mirroring that. So we're not talking about the marriage or about anything about the other person, but I want you to think about that it is something within you that is being shown to you in the relationship. So until you heal that, it's going to keep showing up in this relationship. Even if you leave this relationship, is another relationship. Many of us, we can spend our lifetime talking about the partner. And it's not, there's not enough to talk about. Women, there are some really toxic dynamics that women endure. There's narcissism, there is controlling behavior, there's somebody who just does not contribute financially, there's somebody who just does not value you. There's all these things, right? But you chose them. At some point, you chose them. So there's something energetically in you that was an energetic match. So the energetic match is not, oh, it's a good match. It's just an energetic match. It could be a very dysfunctional match, like the match of an empath to a narcissist. So what is in the relationship that really irked you, that really hurt you, that eats away at you, that makes you wake up in the middle of the night and you want to fix it and change it and make sure the other person sees it and really hurts you? Okay. Number 4, I wrote down some points because we can talk about this forever, but I want to make sure that I stick to the points here. Where in the relationship do you need to find your voice and communicate it in a way that it does not, you don't need to explain or defend? Where in the relationship are you looking for approval from the other person? Many times, many women, we actually don't speak what we want because we are afraid of being judged, because we don't trust the love, right? And they are those relationships. So where do you silence yourself? Where do you where do you kind of hide away your needs and push them down, push them away, just so to maintain peace? Another thing, we are conditioned to believe that somehow peace is the ultimate thing. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't believe that. Peace is overrated. It's not about peace, it's about truth. What is truth? What is true for you? Whether it's peaceful or not, it's not about that. It's not even peace, the external peace. Who cares about that? When internally there's a volcano rising and ready to erupt. every time you're having a conversation with your partner. So where have you silenced yourself just so you can make everything look nice? That's the problem. Next point is, where do you keep on hoping that the other person is actually going to understand you, validate your experience, and apologize, promise you that they're going to do better? That's a recipe for disaster, because you are making your peace, your self dependent upon something which you have no control over. Has the person already done that? If the person was already doing that, you would not be in this predicament. So the person has shown you who they are for decades, and you still keep hoping that somehow they're going to change and you're going to feel the closure, the relief, and then you can move on with your life. It's not going to happen. No one is going to save you inside the relationship. You are going to save yourself. So take a look at, where do you keep on hoping that somehow everything you feel is going to be understood, everything they feel you're going to understand. Sometimes we just grow out of our problems. We don't solve every problem. Relationships actually don't get resolved. They come together, they fall apart. There's something called letting go and picking your battles. Where do you keep hoping that somehow the other person is going to give you closure? It's time for you to give yourself the closure that you need. And the final point, well, it's not final, it's for this video number 5. Boundaries is such a big deal. Somehow there's a misconception that because you're married, you share everything, you disclose everything. That's a problem. Everybody needs privacy. Everybody needs boundaries, especially in close relationships, especially in the relationship of husband and wife and close relationships. You need boundaries. Otherwise, you two just become too enmeshed together. You don't know where one begins, the other one ends. Where do you keep on overriding your own boundaries and taking more, doing more, and feel that you owe something that you don't want to owe to your partner, to your spouse? Your past is your past. It's none of anybody's business unless you make it their business. Your internal stuff that you're working through, it's your internal stuff. You don't need your spouse to understand and listen to everything and agree with you and hold space for you. You need to hold space for yourself. Okay? You need to let the other person off the hook for your sake. This is how you're going to come back to your own power, which you have, but you have forgotten. This is how you get to redefine what the relationship should be. What is it that you need out of the relationship, and who are you going to be inside it? Okay, so I hope that these points will help you get a little clearer. And if this video resonates with you, please like, share, and comment. And be sure to check out the link for the upcoming 12-week program, where we'll get really clear and you're going to start from confusion and fear and leave with clarity and love for yourself. And from that place, you can make any decision and you'll be okay with that decision. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.